introducing and inviting all the panelists of this session. Please put your hands together as I request the first panelist of the session to join us onto the stage, the Chief General Manager, GAIL, Mr. Praveen Kumar Agarwal. Very good morning and a warm welcome to you, sir. May I also invite the Senior Manager, Punjab Energy Development Agency, Engineer Kulbir Singh Sandhu, onto the stage. Good morning, sir. We're also joined by Mr. Sheshadri from KIS Group. Very warm welcome to you, sir. I now invite the Associate Business Director, High Performance Polymer Evonik India Private Limited, Mr. Ashish Maheshwari, onto the stage. Good morning, sir, and a very warm welcome to you. We're also being joined by the thought leader, Bioenergy. India should suffice. Colonel Rohit Dev, very warm welcome to you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, before I request the moderator of the session to kindly take over the session, may I invite the gentleman behind the Renewable Energy India Expo 2022 and always for REI, very special for us, the Senior Group Director, Informa Markets, Mr. Rajneesh Khattar, onto the stage to make his opening remarks. Very warm welcome to you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together and welcome this session.
Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a pleasure to have you all with us. I can see a very esteemed and very intellect panel on the dais today. And my only comment about this particular sector, all I can see that it's growing from strength to strength. And the kind of potential what it has to unlock, I think it will actually need no bounds. This is one sector, I think in my previous maybe I think it was 2019 when I was on the dais and I made this point that time also. This sector probably needs far more attention. Because on one hand, when the government of India is talking about a net zero by 2070, we are talking about 500 gigawatt by the year 2030, one sector alone cannot do it. Every sector has to contribute to the best of its potential, and I think the untapped potential of bioenergy, and I can see the way it's growing. My yardstick is very simple. I can see the size of the bio pavilion which is on the floor, and the manner in which we had a wonderful networking party yesterday. I think this showed nothing but the resilience of the sector. So we are all here together to make this happen, to see that we celebrate not only the success of the sector, not only celebrate the vision which the sector is going to define for all of us, but also the resilience of this industry. Because post-COVID, we have all seen what kind of issues we had. I think the world came to a standstill and we have risen from the issues of COVID. But now I think as a typical Indian, the Indian entrepreneurial spirit says that, we don't know how to sit idle. We'll keep working towards it. And I think my request to the panel is very simple. We know where we are to reach, but I'm sure they will be defining the roadmap, how to achieve and how soon to achieve, because we have no time. 2030 is not too far. We are just 8 years away. And the stage where we are and where we have to go, what our Honorable Prime Minister has done, he has given us a vision. He has given us the very ambitious targets. So now it's up to all the three key legs of the industry. The policymakers, three pillars, financings, and of course, the private players. So they all need to work in tandem, hand in hand, and I think that's the only way India can grow. That's the only way India can grow. Thank you very much for being here, and it's my pleasure to be amongst you, and over to you. Thank you very much, and wish you good luck and good day. Thank you.
Like always, very dynamic of you, sir. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I now request the moderator of the session, Mr. Gurpreet Chok, to kindly take over. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you. I hope you can all hear me. Okay, great. So, good morning to everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Seeing a full house is always, a pleasure. And so, well done to the organizers, IBA, and everyone to get interest in this very important topic. Before I go further, I just want to ask one question. Are there anyone in the audience who are not comfortable or do not understand Hindi? Okay, great. Then we'll make sure we are speaking in English. Otherwise sometimes we tend to, speak in local language as well. But thank you for letting us know. So it is my privilege to be here and moderating this panel and this session with very esteemed speakers. ICF, the company that I represent, we are a consulting company. We're headquartered in the US, but we are present in many different countries. We've been in India for the last 17 years. We work in energy and many other sectors, but specifically in energy, we work a lot in sustainability. And biogas and biofuels are a key area of our focus that we've been working on in the last few years in India, in US and elsewhere, on the technology side, on the market side. So it gives me great pleasure, therefore, to be here and have with me sector experts who understand this sector, biogas sector in India, to share their views with all of you. The structure of this session will be that we have a mix of presentations and freewheeling discussions, and then questions for the audience at the end. A couple of speakers will have some slides that they would like to use, so we ask them to do that. And then I'd request the others to share their views verbally as well. Maybe I should first introduce all the speakers to everyone, and then I'll request the speakers to come in and share their views. On my left, we have Mr. Praveer Kumar Agarwal from GAIL. He's CGM, and he has been in this business of oil and gas and natural gas really for more than 30 years now. Very experienced in the areas that we have to talk about today. He's managing the domestic gas marketing for natural gas, city gas distribution businesses, JV coordination, and even CBG and biogas business. He's the main architect of the CBG and city gas distribution synchronization that we see happening in GAIL. He's also involved in development of LNG for transportation and use of hydrogen in gas networks. He's also on the board of CUGL, which is a city gas distribution company. So he understands the city gas distribution business like nobody else. He has a master's degree in energy environment from IIT Delhi, and he completed his electrical engineering degree at IIT Kanpur, one of the most premier institutes, engineering institutes in India. And both of these with first-class honors. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Agarwal. On my right, I have Shri Kulbir Singh Sandhu, Senior Manager, Punjab Energy Development Agency, PEDA. PEDA has been at the forefront of many renewable initiatives, starting from solar to now CBG, and they have many operating plants as well. They're really one of the forward-looking SDAs that is leading the development of renewable energy in the country. He's a qualified electrical engineer and has been with PEDA since 1995. Responsible for R&M of canal-based MHPs, biogas-based power, and CBG bottling plants, and also SPV power projects. He also leads O&M of these projects, and he has participated in planning of 5 megawatt of agri-PV projects as well. Welcome, and thank you for joining. Next, I have Mr. Raghunath. He's founder and CEO of KIS Group. He's an engineer and an MBA. More importantly, he's an innovator, creator, and a promoter. He founded this group in 2006. I have Mr. Seshadri, on behalf of Mr. Raghunath, the KIS Group. And KIS Group was founded in 2006. The group is a market leader with number one position in biogas power and bio-CNG projects in India, and have developed many innovative biogas technologies, including Z, PHB, and biopower, and bioclean, and bio-CNG. So we look forward to hearing about the technology that KIS Group has. Thank you for joining. Next, I have Colonel Rohit Dev, and he's a thought leader in bioenergy, and I'm sure a lot of you know him already. He had an illustrious career in the Indian Armed Forces and has served as a COO in a renewable energy company. His nickname is RDX, and I'm not surprised why, but he's held very prestigious appointments with detailed insights in operations, logistics, and supply chain management of strategic military organizations, and he's an exceptional instructor and has served under Chapter 7 in UN mission to Sierra Leone. His leadership and foresight during the floods in 2014 in Kashmir ensured logistics for more than 30,000 personnel of the Army and BSF, and enabled more than 100%, which was first time in the history of Northern Command, winter stocking for ice-capped terrain where troops are deployed. He's an alumni of the Defense Services Staff College, Wellington, and holds a master's degree in operational art and strategic thinking. He is a thought leader and has been not recently, he's been involved in bioenergy sector for a time now, and he's invited as a speaker in many panels and internationally as well as in India. Welcome, Colonel Dev, and I have to say, I've never been as honored to read a CV as yours, given your illustrious career for the Indian Armed Forces. Thank you for your service. Next, we have Mr. Ashish Maheshwari, Associate Business Director, High Performance Polymer, Evonik India Private Limited. Mr. Maheshwari holds a Bachelor of Technology in Chemical Engineering from Nagpur University and a Master's in International Business. He's an excellent business development professional with over 2 decades of experience in various industry roles such as business management, operations, strategy, business development, sales and marketing. He's in charge of marketing and sales of high-performance fibers and specialty polymers. His primary responsibility include business development and technical support related to Sepuran, which is a hollow fiber membranes for energy-efficient and cost-effective gas separation. So it's a technology we look forward to hearing about today and understanding more about. Thank you again for joining. So, once again, a big thank you to everyone, all the panelists and all the participants to join us today. As you already heard, CBG is a growing sector, and it has a very important role to play in the net zero context. A lot of fuels that we use generate CO2. Sometimes, even the oil and gas that we use, there could be methane leakages. But here is an opportunity to actually capture that CO2 from the emissions which would otherwise happen naturally, whether it's agri residue or a cow dung, when this methane would go out in the environment. Instead, we are capturing it and trying to use it. So in a way, I look at it as a negative carbon emission possibility way beyond net zero. So it's a big role that CBG has to play. And therefore, the importance of this sector in India's net zero transition cannot be overstated. With that, I'd like to first of all invite Praveen ji to share his thoughts with the audience on CBG sector. Praveen ji, over to you. Please, go ahead.
Good morning to all. Next, please. So, I'll be presenting to you the scenario of biogas in India and how we in GAIL are trying to promote it. Next, please. Next. So, this is the start which we have, very small start which we have made. We have started our own CBG project in Ranchi, and that is, worth around 30 crores. But then this is only a very initial start. Am I audible? Should I go near? Okay. So, but then we are actually looking for various JV partners, or maybe on our own. Maybe we'll be going for bigger numbers of such CBG projects, right? Although our final aim is to get the gas. So we are in gas industry, GAIL India Limited. So our aim is to get the final product and market it as well as we can, right? But still we are in this part also, like we are okay with making our own plants and forming JVs with other companies to initiate few plants. Now, you might have heard about an initiative of MOPNG, through which basically what is happening is that GAIL along with some OGCs, we are buying gas, okay, and GAIL has already issued how many, 269 CBG LOIs, right, and out of those LOIs, already around 45 lands have been finalized. So what we are doing is through this there will be many entrepreneurs who will be making their plants, and we are giving them letters of intents, and finally we are giving them, we are having a commercial agreement with them so that we are able to buy their gas. So the pricing framework of CBG, I'll just try to explain. So initially there was, so first of all, biogas is as per a standard, which is IS 16087 2016, and that standard says that methane should be more than 90%. That is the basic thing, and other components are there, which should, so the basically the CO2, when you make biogas, CO2 is around 45 to 50%. So in the process of making CBG, you are basically taking out the CO2 and making it very pure methane. So if the pricing, if the quality of gas is as per the IS code, then the procurement price is now linked to the retail sale price of CNG in that area. So, and the basic price what we have kept is, that is 54 rupees per kg. So at any such place where the biogas, the CNG price is 70 rupees or less than that, the biogas price is 54 rupees per kg. And beyond that, 80% of the differential will be passed on to the producer. So this is the table which shows that if the prices, so there are bands now, so from 70 to 75, if the rate of CNG in that city is between 70 to 75, we will take the average of that will be 72.5, and 80% of 2 rupees 50 paise, that is 2 rupees. So 2 rupees added to the basic cost of 54. So that becomes basically 56. So approximately 56 without 55, 25 without GST, and with GST it becomes 58. Right? So that is the price. Similarly, if the price goes up, we pay almost 80% of the delta to the producer, and 20% is retained by the OGCs. So there are 5 companies which are supporting this entire scheme, which are Indian Oil, BPCL, HPCL, GAIL, and IGL. So these 5 companies are supporting this scheme. Apart from this, in case the plant is situated in such a place which is more than 75 kilometers away from the RO, which is the retail outlet, then in that case, there will be an additional charge of around 5 rupees per kg if the distance is between 75 kilometers to 100 kilometers, and so on and so forth. So normally there will be less chances that the distance is so much, because there will be some place or other where we will be able to sell this CBG. So this is, at present it is valid for 1 year, and most probably it will be continued from here on. And so this is it. Now, GAIL has come up with a novel scheme which is called CBG CGD synchronization scheme. Now, what has happened, this scheme has been authorized by government also. So in 2014, ministry, so there is some domestic gas which is available in India, which is at a very good price. So in 2014, ministry laid some guidelines which said that city gas distribution companies will be getting that domestic gas, which is at a lower price, right? So what the new scheme has been made is in such a way is that the biogas which we procure from market, that will be mixed in the domestic gas, and then it will be given to the city gas distribution companies at a average price, which will be the weighted average price of two kinds of gases. And this scheme has been now operationalized by GAIL, and it has been authorized by ministry. So what has happened is, some of you might be aware that in India, the entire country has been bifurcated. So there are small parts which are called geographical areas. So the entire country has been divided into various geographical areas, right? So and they have been auctioned and they have been given to various city gas distribution companies. So now what has happened is that because these city gas distribution companies have come there, various private entities and government entities, and they have been given targets to convert vehicles, to start CNG stations, and to lay pipelines for DPNG, to domestic PNG connections. So for that, targets have been given. So this is the right time for the biogas, because earlier if somebody, suppose you make a plant in Ranchi, and if you are able to make CBG, then there will be no buyers, because earlier vehicles in India were not running on natural gas. With time now, what has happened is that across India, earlier in Delhi, for example, the vehicles started on gas. There was an MGL in Mumbai which had their own area. There were some more cities like Lucknow in UP, Kanpur, Ahmedabad. So there were some cities where biogas, where CNG had started in vehicles. Now the entire country, almost how much, 86% of area and 96% of population is now covered by CNG. And so wherever you make a plant in India, it will be falling into some GA or other. And that city gas distribution company will buy gas from us. So in 2021, we started the first case of injection of CBG into a CGD company in Nadiad, GA. It was inaugurated by none other than our Prime Minister himself. And later on, we have continued on the improvement on those things. So at present, this is the pricing mechanism. It is almost at par with SATAT. The prices earlier were around 770 rupees per MMBTU, which were around $10 per MMBTU. We have increased the prices, and now it is 1082 rupees per MMBTU. So which is around $13–14, depending on the rupee to dollar conversion rate. So it is a good price. And apart from that, there will be pipeline compression charges of 2 rupees. The beauty of this scheme is that we are buying this gas at $13 or $14, whatever is the price declared, and then we are also devising a method to increase the price, because CNG prices have increased recently. So the beauty of the scheme is that we are buying this gas at $13 and selling at the uniform base price, which is $6, 6.26 today. So we are buying at $14 and selling at $6.26 per MMBTU. Still we are making profit, okay, because of the synchronization scheme. And so if this continues in future, we are expecting that, and this scheme has been, considered to be a game changer by city gas distribution companies. Many city gas distribution companies are buying gas from even places which are far off. In South, there are 8 or 9 districts which have now started selling biogas. In Indore, they have started selling biogas through synchronization scheme. In Varanasi, we are selling biogas through synchronization scheme. So this is going to be a very popular scheme in future, I believe. So this is the model. We are buying biogas at 1082 per MMBTU, which will be increasing in future. And then we have a mix of APM, non-APM, HPHT or whatever, mix of domestic gases. And then we mix it and then sell it. The effective cost to CGD is UBP. Today we are buying at 1082, which is around $13 to $14. And today we are selling at $6.26 per MMBTU. So almost half the price. But this is achieved through mixing of these two gases. And these are the details of how this is operationalized. We have also kept the option of compression and transportation through cascade. So both the options are there in this scheme. This is first option, in which a biogas plant can compress the gas, and then transport it to a city gate station. So this is option 1, and then there will be, for 1 there is another option 1B, that if these two entities agree, the producer and the buyers, if they agree, the delivery point, the dread point, that can be shifted to the compressor, so plant outlet. So that option is also there. So you need not transport it, only you at your plant put a compressor, and then the city gas distribution company will pick it up from there. Right, and this is the second option, wherein the delivery through pipeline network is also possible. So in this case, although the compression will be little lower, so compression charges will be less, it will be only 2 rupees per kg. And the biggest benefit of this system is that once you put up a plant and once you have connected it to the pipeline network, then you are not worried about your production. Whatever production will be there, it will be moving in the pipeline. So, and the prices, whatever prices will be there, they will be same across India, right? So whatever scheme will be there, that scheme will be same across India. So they'll be very transparent. We are a government organization. We don't earn more than our due. So we only try to bring schemes which are attractive to the producers. So all the stakeholders. So this scheme is such that it is very much beneficial to the producers, because it brings certainty of their marketing offtake, and it also is good for the city gas distribution companies, because they are getting at the same rate at which they were getting the natural gas. Only thing is that we request all the CBG producers that the quality should be good. It should be pipeable quality. The quality should be such that there is no corrosion in the pipeline in the long term. So that is why we also insist that it should be PNGRB laid quality. So there are some different quality aspects which we request. So now coming to the next part, we are also have a initiative called Punk, and we buy up to 20% equity in the entire value chain. So anybody and everybody who is in this CBG industry as such, we would be interested to support them and come with us, and we will be supporting you through equity investments also. Already with the 5 companies we have done such startup thing. Then of course we are continuously busy in doing the advocacy for CBG increase of CBG in India. We have brought this CGD synchronization scheme, that is one. Then we have had various meetings with the Committee of Banks to resolve the financial issues. We are in discussion with World Bank also, and very soon we hope that one good financing scheme will come up for India. Then we are also actively advocating that the fertilizer which is made from this plant. So from this plant, basically, normally it is considered that gas is the main thing which is going to fetch them money. But we believe that the organic fertilizer which will be made from these plants, that will be more money earner than the biogas, if not, if so, at least if not more, at least it will be similar to what they'll be earning from gas. In future, definitely, the kind of fertilizer, the organic fertilizer which is made, it will be definitely priced better, much better than what it is, at present. And we know that whenever we buy organic vegetables or fruits, they are costlier. So organic fertilizer is the requirement of the country, and these plants will be definitely of high use in that. We have been propagating for renewal of CFA scheme of MNRE. So very soon we are expecting that all those people who will put up a CBG plant in India, they will be given a good subsidy from MNRE. Earlier it was there during I think 2021 or 22, some part it was not continuing. Now the same scheme is coming up very soon in a modified version. We are of course hand-holding the CBG entrepreneurs. Our team is also here. If anybody is interested in setting up CBG plants, we have done a lot of research on this, and we have a lot of support team from other agencies who have the technology details, who have the details of the financials, who have the details of who will buy their gas, so and which location to put up the plant. So we free of charge will be supporting you in case you need any such support from us, and we are actively participating in various meetings held by our PNG for supporting this. So basically this is, I think, the last slide. 3-4 recent developments which we wanted to tell. First one is the CBG price, procurement price has been increased by all the companies, including us. So it is very attractive, right? So that is one important thing. Second thing is that for organic fertilizer offtake, whether it is liquid or solid, already there is a letter in May, it has been issued to chemical fertilizers. So basically the idea is that you mix. So if somebody is selling, let's say 9 bags of urea, so let them also sell 1 bag of organic fertilizer. So initially the support is required. In future organic fertilizer will automatically sell. It will be reverse maybe, that if you have to buy urea, if you are buying maybe 9 bags of organic fertilizer, then you have to also take urea. So that scenario will come in future, because organic fertilizer is very good for soil also, right? The recent development, next one is MNRE's umbrella scheme, National Bioenergy Program. In principle, approval has been accorded on very recently for this, and OGMs are reviewing the LOI issuance process and providing hand-holding to the entrepreneurs. So that these are few recent developments, right? And way forward, there are few issues which we need support from ministry and from others. One of them is the production-linked PLI kind of scheme. We are expecting very soon a PLI kind of scheme will come in this. Already we have made a few pages of such document. The ministry is actually trying to bring PLI scheme also in CBG sector. So already government has, you must have heard, in various sectors PLI schemes have come up. So in gas also, in CBG also, it is going to come up very soon. There is one issue that CNG is under GST. CNG is under VAT, while our CBG is in GST. So that is leading to double taxation in some of the places. Although we brought a concept of green hour, oblique green day, oblique you can call it green week or whatever. So what we suggested was that at a outlet, if we are selling CNG as well as CBG, so some part of the day we can call it green hour, and during that time only CBG is sold, and for rest of the time CNG is sold. So idea is that suppose you are selling 10% of CBG and 90% CNG. So what you can do is, out of 24 hours, around 2 hours dedicated for CBG sale, and on the CNG station one board will be put up wherein it will be called green hour and CBG will be sold. For remaining 22 hours, the CNG will be sold, so that during those 2 hours only GST is laid. For remaining hours, the VAT will be laid. So that is the arrangement we are trying to do. The same was agreed by MOPNG also. They wrote some letters also to various states also. But then if finally the tax, because local taxation people, you don't know who can do some, they can ask some questions. So we are still pursuing, and our ministry is also pursuing with the finance ministry, that if something is possible in this. And so that is the concurrent sale of CNG and CBG is, there is some issue because of double taxation at some places. Well, in worst case, we are paying double the taxes. So we are paying GST and then we are paying VAT. Now, mandatory commingling of CBG in domestic gas can also happen in future. At present, it is on reasonable endeavor basis only. So if somebody likes it, then they can do it. We are also expecting a extension of CBG CGD synchro scheme for 15 years in line with SATAT initiative. Presently, the scheme is only for 2 years. We only proposed for 3 years. Now 1 year is passed, so 2 years left. And CBG blending obligation can also be done maybe. So that is also an option. Development of pipelines. So the last point from my side is that for the pipelines which are to be laid for last mile connectivity, we are also requesting for some fund which can be done for support of those pipelines. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Praviji, for a very detailed presentation and setting the scene for the discussions to follow. It's great to know the initiatives that GAIL is taking, especially the commingling of CBG with domestic gas, and also the Punk initiative to support new entrepreneurs. And I wish you the best for these initiatives in the future. Next, we have another small presentation by Mr. Seshadri, and then we would get into a discussion. Can I request you to maybe keep it to 5 minutes of presentation and then discussions, because we are a little late and behind schedule. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, respected speakers and respected moderator. So I'm going to talk about KS Group. I'm just presenting on behalf of my MD, Mr. Raghunath. So we are going to just will explain about our about KS Group and unique which is CDMPOA, carbon credits and VCS and IRCS, and many success stories in biogas power plants and use in boiler, and many success stories in bio-CNG, under construction and present projects, and testimonials, details of our repeat orders, and introduction of details of biohydrogen and summary and conclusions. So we are 17 years old company, and a company with 100% track record, 70% revenue from the repeat orders, and we have certified. We have received many awards from most awarded brand for biogas and bio-CNG from Asia, and we are certified for ISO 9001, 2015, 14001, and 45001, and we have registered on UNFCCC. Our approved CDMPOA is since 2012, and we have own state-of-art manufacturing facility in Bangalore. Until now, this is our installed biogas generation till now, and we have presence in India, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, USA, and many other places. So this is regarding what we do 5 core stances. We provide the world-class technologies, equipment for biogas and bio-CNG. We provide complete turnkey solutions from concept to commissioning. And we are the expert in complete BOOM, build, own, operate and management, and BOM, build, operate and management projects. We have a dedicated team to complete the operation and maintenance. We provide complete carbon management consultancy for industries, corporates, plantation companies to achieve net zero carbon emissions, and experts in carbon credits, VCS, GS, and IREC. So these are our technologies, what we provide for the bioenergy from all organic wastes, and what we supply critical equipments and the carbon management program. So this is our core strengths. So this is our one of the project in India where we have received the IBA's Best Biogas project. Regarding SATAT program, the Government of India plans to install 5,000 CBG plants by 2023 as per the SATAT scheme. But till now, we have yet to see that this much of plants. But the SATAT program is not much gain because of the price. The difference about now only the price is increasing. So now the attention has been increased to put up the bioenergy plant. So these are the SATAT program. So this is our unique projects at Malaysia and India. So the first project, what we bioenergy supplied through the pipeline to all homes of 2 villages. This is around 1,200 homes, and a similar project to supply piped bioenergy to housing complex in Rajasthan Kota also. So these are our awards. So these are our major success stories in Southeast Asia. No, we have the opportunities in India because we have the 2 issues. One is the pollutions, and second is the fossil fuels. So we have 2 things. We have to by SATAT program we can attain 2 things. One is the reduction of pollutions by providing suitable technologies to the MSW and all agriculture wastes. And for that, the government has to give the firm policies and also the financial assistance to the treating waste. So these things we can achieve by supporting a SATAT program. So we thank you for everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you, Seshadri, for a very quick presentation. Maybe a quick question: how many plants do you have in the group that have been set up globally? That
in Southeast Asia, we have more than 25 projects. So basically, we cater for the industry to reduce their carbon footprint. Because to reduce the pollutions, and we do the both methane mitigations as well as the methane capturing. So by this way, we have the pollution-free environment. So same way in India also, the big companies like MNCs, they should follow the decarbonizations. By replacing the natural fossil fuels through the CBG. So this can be done. And second thing is that the government has to support because now the government has no clear firm framework. For MSW, they have to give the clear framework that they have to go for the biogas. Then only the all investors like GAIL companies, they can go for directly the CBG plants. Otherwise, they can go for the composting, but composting is only the one product. We go for the CBG and composting, we have the 2 products. We can reduce the pollutions, and also we can replace the fossil fuels. So we need government support, not only the price, but we need the firm framework from the government. So this has to be done, for MSW and agriculture. Then we can, if government has given clear framework, then we can achieve whatever our SATAT program says. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Without government support, without government clear framework, it's not possible. Because the price also is volatile nature. Now only the price has increased. Previously, if you see, the 46 rupees was there, but now minimum price was 56. So that's what the attention has gained. But still, we need support from the government with a clear framework. Yeah.
And these plants that you have across Southeast Asia, what kind of feedstock mix can they accommodate, and what feedstock are they based on?
we add both liquid wastewater, also solid waste, so both.
Okay, any agri residues as well?
Yes, agree, yes. Yeah, all agri means like all paddy straws and neighboring grasses. So there's energy crops basically. Yeah, so we done both, all kind of liquid as well as solid wastes.
We look forward to your thoughts when we start the discussion. Thank you for giving a brief about the group.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, next, I'm going to maybe request Mr. Sandhu, Senior Manager PEDA, to actually share his, knowledge and understanding that he has developed in Punjab. As we said, Punjab is one of the leading contributors and been developing these CBG plants as well. And there's a lot of agro residue that is available in Punjab. It is one of the largest crop growing states. So can you tell us about the activities of PEDA that it is taking up with respect to agri residue that is being produced and CBG plants in alignment with that?
Good morning, everyone. PEDA was formed in September 1991 to promote and develop the renewable energy programs in the state of Punjab. So at present, PEDA is having 1852 megawatt of installed capacity of renewable energy in Punjab. And at present, main issue in PEDA in Punjab is the handling of this paddy straw. So these days the main thrust is on how to handle and how to manage the agro residue, especially paddy straw. Punjab produces 20 million ton of paddy straw per annum, and 5 to 6 million ton is being presently used in the industry, and we have just commissioned project, Asia's largest project. At present, it is using 33.23 ton of producing CBG per day from paddy straw. The name of the company is Verbio India, and its total capacity will be 100 ton when it will start running on the full capacity per day. And we are producing 2 ton of CBG from PEDA plant we are having in Ludhiana. There is a dairy complex called Habowal Dairy Complex, and we are using cow dung. And there is one more company, Farm Gas Private Limited. They are producing 12 ton CBG at present, and we have allotted more than 43 more sites to the different companies, which will be shortly commissioned within 1 or 2 years. So this is PEDA doing at present in the field of this management of the rice paddy straw.
Thank you for that. Another question that we have for you is, so PEDA has been in, like we discussed that, in renewable energy for a long time. And different projects have different tariffs that are set by CERC. So according to you, in biogas, so do you think that there should be a different tariff for different forms of biogas or feedstock that is being used for biogas, and especially in power generation? And how, talk to us a little bit about the economics of power generation from biogas. Right now we heard GAIL talk about CBG blending in gas and used as a fuel. But if you can tell us more about use as a power and economics there and the tariffs there, that would be helpful.
I think we should have different tariffs for different feedstocks. Like we have different tariff for solar, we have a different tariff. For hydro, we have a different tariff. And for example, if we take 2 feedstocks, like one is dung, cattle dung, and one is rice paddy straw. So to put up a plant of these through these feedstock, the capital investment is different in both the plants, and O&M cost is also different. So on basis of that, we should have a different tariffs based on the feedstock we are using to produce the CBG. And second one.
Second one was around the, viability and the pricing of power generation.
Viability of power generation through CBG at present, the local distribution companies, they are providing the rates, they are not viable through for power generation at present.
Thank you. You're an O&M expert as well. So can you tell us about, some O&M issues that you have faced in these CBG plants? What kind of typical issues come when you're operating these plants?
Like we are having one biogas plant in Ludhiana of 9,000 cubic meter raw biogas capacity. So the availability of cow dung there is no issue. It is a very big dairy complex, but there is no cooperation from the dairy owners. We are facing a very big problem for collection of the dung. And secondly is the sale of manure. But in that direction, Punjab government have there is one task force have been prepared that will manage that manure issue. And third is the availability of the plant equipment machinery in India. Good efficient machines, equipment are not available in India. Everything we have to import from Italy, from Europe, these countries. And due to that, there is a lot of maintenance issues, availability of spares and everything. We are facing these issues also. And some more, my colleague, Mr. Gurinder Singh, he is looking after the O&M of the plant. He can bring some more issues related to O&M.
Good morning, everybody. There are some more issues like foreign materials such as sand, garbage waste that the suppliers mix up with the cow dung that increase the maintenance cost of our pumps and machinery. And the one more issue is recovering of CO2 is not viable. And sale of CO2 is also a big issue. When we want to sell CO2 to the customer, they often questioning about the source of origin. That is a big issue.
Okay. Thank you. I think thanks for those insights. And I take that point you mentioned that a lot of these machinery has to be imported for outside, which actually provides quite a good opportunity for local manufacturing. And any companies here that are interested, this is a market which is going to grow.
Make in India, steps can be taken in the direction also.
Certainly, so under Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat, if there are local companies that can look at this issue, perhaps it's some big market that might open up. Now let me come to Colonel Dev, and you've been patiently listening. So GAIL has talked about the initiatives they are taking, how they are supporting CBG industry and how it will grow. We've heard, PEDA as well talk about some issues, some challenges that they are facing around maybe O&M and, fertilizer and CO2 capture. From your vantage point, how do you see this industry overall developing, the supply chain in the agro residue? So let's first talk about agro residue, and we can talk about other sources as well. But if we first talk about agro residue, which is for the whole north and west belt, in winters the crop burning becomes a serious issue. So there is a win-win that is being seen, that if this can be converted to biogas, not only you remove the pollution, you also go towards net zero, you supply your fuel, you become energy independent. Our dependence on fossil fuels, which is for everyone to see right now in this environment, with CBG, that can also come down. So there are a lot of macro benefits. But to get these benefits, what are the challenges and how do you think we should proceed to make sure that we deliver the promise?
So, thank you for that question. So let me start by saying that our country has embarked on a very potent journey, which is the energy transition. And like Rajneesh ji mentioned at the beginning, it can't be done by one entity. So you can't say it all solar, you can't say it all hydel, you can't say it, any which way geothermal currently. But a whole gamut of a transition involves also the bioenergy sector. And what Gurpreet is asking is to focus on the agricultural residue part. This journey is not only beneficial to offset our exchequer's cost on fossil fuel, not only will it help in the health benefits and the environment benefits as well, but the primary point about an agrarian country like India is that it will help the rural economy. It will help the rural sector to remain a rural sector. So if you take your minds back to Israel, what happened there in 1970s and 80s and any other country, I think today we are at a place that we need to transit through this energy, kind of a gap which is being created. Coming to the bioenergy sector, CBG we are discussing today, the plate is absolutely like a, like a platter. It's a mix of various constituents. You have CBG, you have biofuels in the E2G network coming up in the country. We also are looking at next 3 to 4 years. And when I say E2G, it's already started. You have a compulsion on the oil majors of the country, the PSUs, to do it. You're also looking at a lot of prominent players, the global OMCs, who are watching from the sidelines to step in with the right pricing mechanism. So to get the pricing mechanism right there, you need to also mark the GHG emission part as well. So just for a layman to understand, the GHG emissions from gasoline being X, it comes down by nearly about 30, 40% when you talk about E1G. But when you go to E2G, you're actually having a negative GHG kind of a situation, which is very good. So it needs to be priced. Similarly, when you see 3 years from now, when India eventually signs the Corsia agreement and becomes a signatory, the airplanes won't get refueled in India unless you are Corsia compliant. So SAF will kick in. And the productivity of the policy initiation, which is there today in the country, because one was part of the World Economic Forum study as well 2 years back, that white paper is with the government of India today. So they will be very realistically seeing the future of the SAF as well. Coming to bioenergy part, there is a stretch, and I am making no bones about it. 5,000 LOIs of CBG, 11 plants under motion for E2G, everything else. And today, particle boards, furniture, shoes, jackets, there are n number of uses. Crockery, cutlery is also using the same thing. Even the straws which we drink the soft drinks from is also coming from coconut frond. So the stress in the market is how to finally, after 15 years, find this biomass actually, if we get it right. So today it's looking like a heap of a commodity being burnt, but tomorrow it's a very vital commodity. So 2-3 pointers for you to consider, because we are at 18 minutes 25 seconds left in this particular forum. I will just take 3 minutes and cover a few points there. Now, a 4P model is my first take. The first is it has to be a synergized energy transition. If there are 8 or 9 ministries involved today in this country, and one of them also happens to be the environment, which has to give clearances and all, you need to come together at the secretarial level and map the entire requirement. So the energy transition has to start by looking at 2070 AD. And thankfully, our Prime Minister talked about that as a net zero transition. So you need to know what is the population of India in 2070, what is the energy consumption in various factors, domestic, industrial, transportation, whatever it may be. And then you will come to know how much of EVs, how much of solar, how much of bioenergy, how much of hydel, how much of geothermal is going to come to the country. So let's get that maths right first and come down to the next level. In the bioenergy space, a 4P model will work. If I ask the person from GAIL or the Shell person sitting there, they all will tell you that we are not getting it right because the biomass pricing is not right. The biomass pricing fluctuation happens due to various factors. If you work on the 4P model, triple P model everybody understands, the fourth P is the people, is the farmer. If you in this journey, hypothetically I will give you a layman assumption, you still continue to pay 1 rupee plus to the farmer for per kg of the waste which you draw down for any project, whether gas, ethanol or whatever you want to call it. And then you go to the market at a zero cost value. So the EPC player, the finance guy, the person with technology, the person with supply chain, the person with logistics, you don't mark your cost. The problem today is you are struggling with 46 because you all are marking up your costs. So don't mark your cost. Come as a consortium and let it happen. And once you let that happen, then plow back a percentile of your profits amongst yourself as per your financial, influx you have made, and also a part back to the farmer himself. So that way, you'll be able to keep the farmer energized and synergized as a stakeholder in this journey. The second part to understand the semantics of supply chain is to understand the concept of womb to tomb to a rebirth. So this entire philosophy, how to pick up the aggregated material, how to have, say, for example, aggregation warehousing, how to have agricultural parks where the state governments can chip in with the land and also get a lot of players from India and abroad to get their harvesting equipment and post-agricultural equipment, which can be leased to the farmers, to the private sector, to the CBG sector as well. And then you draw out that particular aggregated residue. Warehousing, logistics. So you are looking at a philosophy today which is to do with integrated logistics of tomorrow. So today everybody is not defined. You go to a market today, if I want some agricultural stuff to be picked up and densified, it has got a local mechanism of trolleys and tractors, diesel being consumed. If it has to be densified and sent to the market again to a MNC or a global player to consume it in the industrial boiler today, again the logistics systems are different. So you need to have an integrated logistics coming up for tomorrow. It has to be planned today. Unfortunately, what happens is that the government, the central government, and I've been dealing with PEDA for a long time. PEDA is a very proactive kind of an institution. They have been very, very proactive for the last 3-4 years I've been in the corporate sector. They in fact ask you what to do next in the sector. So you need proactivity for the policy and institutions made at the highest level to percolate and get ratified at the ground level. And this particular, so to say, this hedging of the cost in the supply chain will remain. When I came to the industry, somebody said 2 rupees you get the biomass. Today people say 2.5 rupees and plus added cost of insurance, warehousing and everything else. There have been tenders in this country. The CBG route has also gone through the tendering process. The E2G route of IOCL, HPCL and BPCL have gone through that process. We have found and discovered the cost today. We know the components of this cost. But the idea is who should own that cost. So when I speak to somebody, say no names, but say a global OMC today, I say, see, if you give it to me to do it myself, there are all added costs. But if you own up the land for warehousing, if you own up the machines, if you own up the logistic aspect, this is the delta you will save on your entire financial infusion there. So I think personally as well as a collective national requirement, the CBG community, I was very happy today. I must share this with you because I went around the stands. I went to IBA, that place where they set up the stalls. It was such a good feeling because not only did IBA want to showcase itself, but all the members of IBA were under the same orange and yellow umbrella today, and they were trying to showcase their effort to the world. So I think coming together as a consortium, as players. The other thing is, you look at India, indigenously, we have been very poor, whether it's defense or agriculture or any other sector, R&D, skill development, and coming around to form consortiums to take it ahead. This is something we've never done. I heard the GAIL person talking about they are willing to help people to establish, right? But imagine in this particular room, I'm quite sure there are players who are like GAIL, there are smaller players for supply chain, there are players of logistics elements. If you all come together, this consortium can achieve much more. Soft financing is the next need. Wherever you go, if you're an entrepreneur today, GAIL may want to sell it at 46 rupees, but GAIL at certain point cannot do it because of the cost involved in financing. So you are a supply chain player, you go to the market and you say, I want to draw down 3 million USD to do sort of 1 lakh tons of biomass in Punjab. You go to the private ones, 16%, 18%, 14% of interest. You go and haggle with IREDA, you'll come to somewhere around 10%, 11%. You go to the World Bank or somebody in DFC, you can haggle, if you're good enough, to about 8.3%. It's not enough. It's not enough because unless you have these policy interventions, I heard the dual taxation part as well, right? So why should the supply chain where you are benefiting the rural community, it is adhering to the government policies of double income from farmers, it is taking care of your health and environment benefits, why should you get taxed to a particular limit? Unless it's made a commodity for sale, the entire value chain from farm to the factory, at least for the first part, the densification or direct into the boiler or the industry, should become tax-free actually. So you need to have soft loans. Imagine if the World Bank is going to lend to a IREDA or any institution for 1%, 2%, and you cap it and give it to the private sector or the farmers at about 4 to 6%, the game will change. This was my interaction with the PMO 2 years back, and that time we were trying to fight coal, and coal was the competitor. But today, when you look back, the cost of energy through coal today in the industry is 2.8, 2.6, 2 rupees per GCV. It's nowhere, it's gone. And for anybody who says it's going to come back, it's not going to come back. So you are looking at a situation in India where this resource, and I'm not getting into CBG, 5,000 plants of LOI, average 50,000 metric tons. There's about 250 crore metric tons of biomass. Is it there? No, it won't be there. When you have people like Sharad sitting there who are going to establish more plants, and they're going to people putting E2G and SAF. 700 million metric tons is what our industry burns today, which is thermal nature, providing you steam, part electricity, and other things. With all the networking of biomass, some studies says 350 million metric tons, some says 1,200 unutilized biomass. So you are looking that unless you have command areas, unless you have in a geography, and I'm happy that PEDA did it. PEDA did it the first because they made 20 districts count for 20 CBG projects. So that's the way to look at, to create command areas, to have financing schemes, single point ease of doing business, and that's the way this particular sector is going to go. I can go on and on. I'm looking at Gurpreet and he's telling me to keep quiet. So I'll put it at rest here. We can talk it offline after this.
Thank you so much for your thoughts. There'll be some time more, when the questions come in. But, very interesting idea about getting the cooperative together in a model and, combining the supply chain rather than having individual small parts of
Just one point, because I broached this about 2 months back. Everybody sitting using fossil fuel or any other fuel, whether you're using coal, pet coke, furnace oil, it's got a cost today, right? If you go back 5 years from now, the cost has escalated. When you are using biomass to supplement this energy cost, please look at your energy savings. Don't try and look at the cost of biomass at 2 rupees or 2.5 rupees. So if your energy cost today is 2.5 rupees per GCV, if today biomass can substitute that energy cost and give you a cost saving of 40% of your cost, your interaction with the biomass industry should be to retain that edge of the saving. So I can give you models in which you can save 40% of your cost going ahead for the next 20 years. That way, the biomass supply chain companies will also come up and be able to give you that energy. So if you look at from the energy cost model, we can discuss this offline. I think this entire industry, especially the thermal part, producing steam and other things in the industrial boilers, are going to benefit. And so is CBG and 2G and SAF in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll come next to Mr. Ashish Maheshwari, Evonik India. And we'd love to hear a little bit about Evonik. So if you can tell us a little bit about the company and what it does. And then your thoughts on the SATAT initiative and how your company is supporting that and what could be the future of CBG in the country.
Thank you, Session Chairman. And thank you, everyone, IBA. So Evonik is a leading German company, specialty chemical company from Germany, and we have the worldwide presence. Now we are operating into various 4 verticals mostly. Those are specialty, health, nutrition care, coating additives, smart material, and performance material. Evonik also has established good footprints in Indian market. It is more than 4 decades in Indian market. We have 2 manufacturing sites for catalyst and silica. We have global R&D center for healthcare businesses and catalyst. We have application labs for various product line and catering to the various industries including automotive, healthcare, pharmaceutical, coating additives, oil and gas, renewable energy. Now coming to the major product which is coming as a CBG. We have heard and we know that SATAT, it's one of the game changer policy which has came into picture in 2018, where 5,000 plants government is planning to establish for this biogas. And it's always needed when we are transition going from the fossil fuel to the renewable energy, including biogas or hydrogen or different types of wind, solar. So when such massive scheme is coming, 5,000, then the technology advancement is always needed. Membrane technology is such one technology which is also gaining the momentum. We have seen lot of developments in Europe and US based on this technology. And at Evonik, I would like to specify more about how it is associated in oil and gas sector and renewable biogas energy. So in Evonik is the only company I can say which is backward integrated. What does it mean by the backward integrated? Being a specialty chemical company, it will manufacture its own chemical, then convert it into polymer, which has been spun to hollow fiber and the entire cartridge. Then we associate with the engineering companies who will build the systems, and it will be supplied to the end user. So across the value chain, we always associate with the end user to understand their requirement and support the engineering partners. So that is the one beauty when we say backward integrated. We can play with our polymer chemicals and give the best product which is highly selective, because the membrane performance depends on the selectivity ratio. When we say biogas, which is a combination of methane and CO2, you need highest selectivity ratio. In Sepuran green, we can find it is more than 50. So separation capacity is increased. The membrane technology, it's a green technology, because when we say traditional technology, we can say energy saving or chemical use. That is not the part. It's a completely green technology, sustainable solution. Energy conservation is also, requirement is very low. When we say it is in the range of 0.2 to 0.24 kilowatt per annum cube of raw biogas. At the same time, it's a plug and play, modular system. So anybody can operate it very easily. The investor has a beauty that they can increase the capacity. At the same time, it's easy to operate, so that at operational level or maintenance level, it can be done at a par ease of the operation, that I can say. And at Evonik, we have seen more than 1,000 plants, because as a technology leader in the membrane, we are catering to natural gas, biogas, process gas, or nitrogen generation, OBIGS membrane, onboard inert gas generation, all those. So we have that expertise, and in biogas domain, almost more than 800 plants has been established, and it is getting the momentum. And we can say, as we heard that sir has told, that they are looking to this grid application also. So what you need? In that case, you need the reliable supply, consistent supply of the biomethane. And the membrane technology gives that benefits to the end user to continuous, sustainable, reliable supply of the biomethane or any other gas which we are working. So that is what I can say. I'm open for any queries or all those things. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for giving us a background of your organization, and so much you've done, 800 units, plants that you have been installing your technology. Great to hear that. So we are actually coming to the end, but we still have some time. So I'd like to now open it up for the audience to ask any questions. The only thing I'd request is if you can, first of all, raise a hand, tell your name, and then ask your question and tell us who you want to direct your question to. So if there are any questions, then please go ahead. I see a hand here.
Thank you. Hello. Hello. I'm H. Kumar from CST Energy Access. मेरा क्वेश्चन ये सर, मेरा ऑब्जर्वेशन है. I'm also associated with the biogas plant in Jaipur. They are Rajasthan Go Seva Sangh. They have 11 गौशाला है उनके पास में. लेकिन क्वेश्चन है कि बायोगैस का रॉ मटेरियल है काउडंग. थाउजेंड्स ऑफ काउडंग इज वेस्टेज पड़ी है, लेकिन उसका कोई इस्तेमाल नहीं हो पाता है. मेरा कुछ ऑब्जर्वेशन ये है कि जो रिसोर्स है हमारे पास में, मटेरियल है, उसका रॉ मटेरियल है, उसका एप्लीकेशन तो बढ़ ही नहीं रहा है. तो इसमें दो सजेशन है. एक तो है कि जो जितनी भी गौशाला हैं राजस्थान में या पोला में, वहाँ मैनेजमेंट नहीं है. वहाँ पर वाई नॉट स्टार्ट द इकोसिस्टम मैनेजमेंट गौशाला, जिससे कि काऊ का भी संरक्षण होगा, काऊ डंग का भी संरक्षण होगा, उसके यूरिन का भी संरक्षण होगा, उसका मैनेजमेंट होगा और ह्यूमन रिसोर्स डेवलपमेंट और क्वालिटी गौशाला बन जाएगी। क्योंकि आज गौशाला के अंदर कितनी प्रॉब्लम आ रही है उसकी डिजीज़ की वजह से। दूसरा है कि नेशनल बायोगैस प्रोग्राम है, वन स्टूडेंट है बायो एनर्जी मित्रा, अक्यूट शॉर्टेज ऑफ मेन पावर। इतने बड़े आपने इंटरनेशनल लेवल के बात बता दी, इंडोनेशिया, मलेशिया, दिस प्लांट, दिस करोड़, वेयर द मेन पावर टू रन ऑल दीज थिंग्स। वन स्टार्ट द 3 months ट्रेनिंग प्रोग्राम ऑन बायो एनर्जी मित्रा प्रोग्राम, जस्ट लाइक ए सूर्य मित्रा।
Thank you for your comments. आपके comments के लिए धन्यवाद. And if there is anyone who would like to comment, then please go ahead.
Hello, I would like to answer that. So, all these gaushalas, wherever enough, biomass is available, very soon it is. Let's see, maybe very soon in near future we are going to have lot of plants in India. As I was telling you, the time is now right. सी एथेनॉल, मैं आपको अगर हिंदी में जवाब दूं तो एथेनॉल का प्रोडक्शन आपने देखा होगा 10% से ज़्यादा इंडिया में ऑलरेडी शुरू हो गया मिक्सिंग, राइट। एथेनॉल हैज़ ऑलरेडी more than 10% mixing has started. Similar thing is going to happen in gas very soon, and time has now come because ethanol, already vehicles were using petrol, they were already using diesel, they were not using gas. Now they are using gas. So if that had come 10 years back, so there were not many vehicles. Now it will come very soon, and there are many places where these plants are coming up. People are actually now, as Rohit Dev sir was also saying, the reverse will come, that people will not find the cow dung. Recently I was in Varanasi, they have put up a plant. The situation is now reverse. They are trying to find cow dung. They are paying 85 paisa per kg of cow dung, and they are not getting it. वो मिलना मुश्किल हो जाएगा. थोड़े दिन के बाद आप देखिएगा सिचुएशन बदल जाएगी. ये जो बायोमास है, it will be in short supply. Whatever this biomass is available, it will be very soon used up in all these plants.
Thank you. I think you're echoing the thoughts of Colonel Dev as well, that today we are having a problem of plenty, but soon, and we hope that day comes soon, that we'll be struggling to get more biomass. Any other questions that anyone would like to ask?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Somesh Jha. I have a query regarding financing in SATAT scheme. Now, as we are very young entrepreneurs and we have other colleagues also, we are facing lot of difficulties. Government at policy level have taken so many initiatives, but when we go to the banks at branch level or RO level, so there they don't have the know-how, means how to finance it. We show that this is a government of India scheme. So what what we can do so that the turnaround time or the financial closure can be shortened, and it will help us to put the schemes, means to implement the projects easily.
Thank you. I think that is a very relevant question, and I'm glad that you asked that question. Unfortunately, we don't have a banker on the panel, but I'm still going to be open to any answers. But maybe one thing important therefore is maybe a feedback to IBA as well, that the next panel discussion we do, we must get a bank involved, because the financing is as important for the ecosystem. And I have interacted with certain banks, the state-owned Bank of Baroda and some of the other, in my capacity as a consultant. And we've been trying to tell them that they need to understand this biogas sector better, and there needs to be a little bit technical knowledge building for the banks and the people who are approving. Now the thing is, every bank has a different structure. Given the size of the loan, this loan is approved at a much lower level at a retail branch, where you don't have the technical expertise. So how do you build that technical capability, how you train? There needs to be a program that needs to be at the Government of India level, and there are multilateral institutions that are thinking about it, that want to lend to Government of India. They want to support these banks to build technical capability. So it's a recognized problem, and it is being thought out, and hopefully soon there will be something which will provide technical assistance to these banks to build their capability. Having said that, I'll be very happy to have any answers or any thoughts.
One answer I would like to give some inputs to you. Already lots of work is going on this. Yesterday we had a meeting with World Bank on this. Our Mr. Bijay is there from IOCL. So with IOCL and all, we are also trying to have various meetings with banks. Recently we had a World Fuel Day. We called State Bank of India persons there for presentation. So we are working on it. We are not from banks, but I tell you that these plants are such that you're basically converting. What you're doing is you're converting waste to energy, right? So once the output is properly monetized, then banks will be giving loans very freely. So gas part, CBG part is quite well taken care of. When the fertilizer, the biofuel, fertilizer which will be made, organic fertilizer which will be made, if that is sold at, let's say, 10 rupees per kg or 20 rupees per kg, if that kind of rate you get in the market, there are companies who are selling this fertilizer at a rate of, let's say, 20-25 rupees per kg. So then the biomass issue will also resolve. Because if I am buying biomass at 3 rupees per kg, and if it is a 90-ton plant, if I make 3 ton of biogas, right? So I don't earn any money, because the money which is which I am getting from CBG, that will be spent while buying the raw material itself. But if the organic fertilizer which is made, for that the system is made for selling it and at a very good price, then things will improve. Okay, and if I may add that there are 2 more things, that if carbon credits are also monetized from these plants, and then CO2 capture is also done. So these 4 or 5 such outputs will be taken care of, then these plants, the financing will be better. Having said that, we are already working at the present system also. We are trying to rope in various agencies so that the interest rates and collaterals go down, and they will go down very soon. Thank you.
Thank you for a very detailed response and adding that point about carbon credits, which is a vital point. So ladies and gentlemen, I think we've reached the end of this session. So a big thank you to all the panelists and the esteemed speakers who shared their views. We've had a very interesting mix of conversation and very rich conversation. I hope the audience also feels that way and they have gained something out of this discussion. So with that, we close this session and I hand it over to you now.
Thank you so much, moderator of the session, for wonderfully conducting and concluding the session. Ladies and gentlemen, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to all our speakers, our panel member, for discussing and making this session really interactive and very insightful. With that, we'll take, in conclusion, we wish to present a small token of appreciation to all our panelists. And may I request our moderator of the session, Mr. Gurpreet Chugh, to kindly present the memento to our panel members. We are going to present a memento to Mr. Sheshadri. Thank you so much, sir, for being on our panel. Can we put our hands together as we enjoy this moment? We'd also like to present a memento to Mr. Kulbir Singh Sandhu. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time. We now present a memento to Mr. Ashish Maheshwari. Thank you so much, sir. A small token of appreciation to Mr. Praveen Kumar Agarwal. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experience and your thoughts with us. We also extend our heartfelt gratitude to Colonel Rohit Dev. Thank you so much, sir, for being on our panel. And may we now also thank the moderator of the session, and may I invite Dr. A.R. Shukla, President IBA, to kindly join us onto the stage and present a token of memory, love, and appreciation to the moderator of the session, Mr. Gurpreet Chugh. Thank Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. With that, we conclude this session. We are moving into our next session immediately. We'll take exactly 2 minutes to set up our head table. And in the meantime, kindly stay in the hall, just enjoy yourself, few moments of interaction with each other as we now move into our next interactive and very insightful session. Very warm welcome to you, sir. We also invite General Manager AEIOCL, Mr. Bijay Kumar, onto the stage, please. We also have amongst us as the panelist of the session, Head Operations, Indian Biogas Association, Mr. Abhijit Mukherjee. Once again, requesting our hall members, our special invitees, guests to kindly settle down. Before we begin the session, we have a small audio visual from Canara Bank with the permission of the session chair, session moderator, and the panelist. Can we start the session with a small audio visual? Thank you. May I request the audio visuals to kindly be played?
My sincere thanks to the Indian Biogas Association for organizing a session on policies and finance, a springboard for the success of India's biogas industry at the Renewable Energy India Expo of 2022. The Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, Government of India, is planning to roll out 5,000 CBG plants across India in a phased manner by 2025 as part of its Green Energy Initiative. Gas generated through biodigestion of biomass is a renewable as well as a clean, non-polluting source of energy, as it actually reduces greenhouse emissions. Creating fuel from waste as a form of energy is a great way to combat global warming and climate change. The CBG sector is still in the nascent stage and is poised to grow exponentially, benefiting from the synergies envisaged by the SATAT scheme. The efforts of oil and gas marketing companies in establishing large-scale commercial projects have helped instill confidence in the CBG sector. Further, there exists vast utility for CBG outside the transportation use cases through CGD synchronization, piped gas supply to cities and commercial uses as well. The recovery from the pandemic and the ensuing energy crisis and uncertainty in global trade further emphasize the need for us to reach energy sufficiency through alternate energy sources like CBG. The Government of India's initiative for the sector through central financial assistance will further improve the financial viability of land availability, signing of commercial agreement, letter of intent, submission of bank guarantee to the oil and gas marketing companies, tie-up arrangements with raw material suppliers are some of the prerequisites for consideration under SATAT scheme. However, from a credit perspective, the list of requirements will vary depending on various factors like size of the unit, choice of feedstock, technology being utilized, and is subject to applicable on the supply side. Assured raw material availability through tie-up arrangements, build, operate, transfer models will surely help mitigate production risk. A risk-sharing facility in the form of a comprehensive credit guarantee scheme and the capital subsidy scheme will further protect the interests of all the stakeholders.
Thank you so much. That was a short audio message from Canara Bank. And now I request the moderator of the session to kindly take over. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I welcome all the panelists here on the dais and all the participants in the hall who have made it appropriate and convenient to participate in this session. I take a sting from the previous session when an apprehension was got and given to the audience that very shortly we are going to have short supply of biomass waste, which appears a nuisance and in abundance today. I remember 2010, when I was in Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, looking after biogas and bio-CNG program, which I launched from the MNRE at that point of time. In the same conference venue in 2010, around this time, in presentation I said that the days are not far, which Gaurav remembers very well, quite often he referred. The days are not far when the FIRs will be lodged with the police that my waste has been stolen. And since that fear has already been sounded again in the same complex here at Expo, it will be the great day and happiest day when that happens. Since this session is for policy and financing, I would urge upon all the panelists and also the members, participants here, that let us now also think what type of policies are really required to happen. And as Prime Minister keeps on saying, that we have also to learn from history. We are, the subject which we are dealing, what has been happening in the history within the country, and what all we can do and we should do. We have the examples. Sugar mills are quite old industry, one of the first industries after the spinning mills and cotton mills in the country, which was there and which is there. Even today, every financial year, in every budget, there is a demand from the sugar mill associations for various supports from the government to give. For an outsider, it may appear that it means the sugar mills are not self-sufficient. Similarly here, the model which we are going to create for the bioenergy and biomass sector in the country, we have to learn what the sugar industry has been got during all over the years, that even now they need support from the government. And what are the reasons? So it is therefore, any biomass related projects and ventures, if they are only going to take one output as the main output and forget about others, you will continue to have a problem. That is what the sugar mills are facing even today. Though the sugar mills are having other types of outputs which they have never cared. Whatever liquid waste is generated, they will freely throw away in the rivers and nalas and all that. And so much of pollution they will create. Solid waste, they don't bother. Pressed mud, they were not bothering. Even now, many of them are not bothering. So it is therefore, every gram of a biomass, it is to be converted to either food or fuel or fertilizer. So food, fuel and fertilizer, all the three outputs, unless they are planned systematically in the concept, in the project development, it will never be economical. If we are going to collect dilute, highly distributed biomass from every field, bring to a central location, process it, transport it, carbon footprint, then send it back to these bigger industries of CBG and ethanol and whatnot, the economics of that is going to may not be very good. It is therefore, we have to think, what is the size of the plants would be all right, how much waste it is going to consume. When I made a policy as early as 2012, January for the Gujarat, I said there has to be a command area, which the PEDA has now took up a string. Command area that, suppose a tehsil or a region or a district, the entire biomass is auctioned to a company, just like we are doing the Mine Route to Niti Aayog also about a year back, that let that be auctioned, let the collection of all types of biomass waste should be auctioned for a period of time, and then it is made available to the industries which are going to consume for various purposes. So those are the requirements which we have to think in the policy. The third thing which I would like to flag is that if you are going to, as I mentioned briefly, if you are going to think only of one product, only one output, you may not be economical. And therefore, the biomass and bioenergy based industry has to be a multi-output, multi-product industry, not a single product industry. As it appears, and our colleagues here, panelists, they are going to talk about it, the fertilizer and the fuel, the two things have been talked out of it. So that is how in 2008 also, when I launched this program, it was called the biogas fertilizer plant. At that time I said fertilizer, unless it is brought in the whole chain, we are not going to become economical. But today, the fertilizer buyers are not there. We are going to sell it to the farmers. Farmers don't have the deep pocket to purchase it. So therefore, as industries, as group of industries, we have to upgrade the digestate coming out of the biogas plant to compete with the chemical fertilizers. It has to better than that. Then only we can have the organic production and the better price for the producer, the farmers. So therefore, if you are now you think how many basket, what is going to the basket of product which you can have from the biomass. For example, if you are having a plant, a CBG plant or ethanol plant, any plant you are having, in any case your presence is there. You have had all the infrastructure created for that. Then you should think of the biomass available in the form of seeds, get it collected. If you have sufficient quantity, you have a biodiesel plant over there. If you don't have a sufficient quantity, you trade it to some other location, regional location, where it can be collected in sufficient quantity to the plant. So therefore, you have biodiesel. Similarly, you have the bioethanol. You have the organic fertilizer, the upgraded ones out of the digestate, and many other things you can do. If you are having a methane, you should also have the CO2. Let CO2 be also collected, stored, refined, and brought in the growth. Some issues will be there in the beginning. So therefore, in the beginning, at the outset, what I thought to briefly mention to all the participants, the panelists and the audience, that let us have a multi-basket and multi-product system for the bioenergy. And one thing which our ancestors were having, that when Hindustan was सोने की चिड़िया, so सोने की चिड़िया जब हिंदुस्तान था, at that time everything was getting done locally from various resources. So let us take a learning and lesson from there. Can we collect the resources and process it and consume it locally, produce it locally and consume it locally. Otherwise, there is no point that we are having the CBG produced and then we are bringing the LPG to the same village. So therefore, examples are there in Punjab and Rajasthan, somebody has mentioned some other places, that why don't you produce the LPG equivalent or CNG or bio-CNG and provide it locally first. If it is excess, then you take it outside. Similarly, fertilizer, instead of all the IFCOs and CRIPCOs are buying centrally and bringing back to the same village, you have a system, a mechanism. That is where the policy is required. That is where the integration is required. How we can integrate all these things in such a manner in policy and then financing that whatever is the requirement from the biomass waste and industry to be consumed locally, that should get the first priority. Then only it will be economical in the whole ecosystem. So therefore, the circular economy and so many names are given in the literature, it will happen only then. So while whatever the government was able to do, will be able to do, we should, as independent thinkers, also keep on thinking on this and making our businesses oriented and reoriented towards that. So with this, of course, a little background I thought to give to you, so that keep on thinking. Now, the panel which we have today, the learned panels are Vijay Kumar ji from IOCL, Dr. Sachin Kumar from NIBE, and then we have Nikhilji from Unido, and Avijit Mukherjee from IBA. So learned panelists are here, and all of you who are here in this sector, you are aware and you are knowing these experts in the area. So without having, since we have already wasted, rather we have got lesser time because of the earlier session was getting extended. So not having the larger introduction, I'll be briefly mention a couple of sentences, then I will request the panelists to go ahead with their presentations and interventions. So Vijay Kumarji at IOCL, and he has got a long experience, all association when the SATAT was started from the MOPNG and the IOCL and the AL companies. So with this brief mention about Vijay Kumarji, I request straight away to go ahead with this presentation.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Namaskar. Good afternoon. Thank you, Indian Biogas Association, for inviting me for today's session. It's a very special day for me. Why? Because today we are completing exactly 4 years when SATAT was launched. Exactly 4 years. On 1st of October 2018, we launched SATAT, and today is exactly 4 years. So I never thought that after completing exactly 4 years, I will be standing here and talking about financing SATAT and all. I never thought. So what we have started 4 years back, it is still going on. So that is very great thing. We are talking about it. We are discussing it regarding policies, how far. So what we have started, it is giving results. It has started giving results. So today is very a special day for me. So I still remember Mr. Sukla was part of that launching program, SATAT, when Mr. Pradhan was there. So let me thank everybody who was there in launching SATAT. So that was great scheme. It was conceived well, and it is going on well. So it will progress well also. So thank you very much for coming in this session. I will straightway go to last session question. I will just like to answer. Somebody asked that cattle dung is produced in Gausala, Jaipur Gausala. Somebody mentioned it is not utilized. Let me answer that question. That at Jaipur we have set up one of the largest biogas plant based on cattle dung. 100 ton per day cattle dung biogas plant has been set up by Indian Oil Corporation Limited. So if any problem is there in addressing the cattle dung in Jaipur area, they can contact me. We need that cattle dung straight away. We can put in digester. Our plant is running smoothly at Jaipur itself, Hingonia. So that address your problem exactly. And furthermore, based on cattle dung, we are setting up many more plants in India. At Barsana, we are setting up plants. At Gwalior, we are setting up plants. We have set up plants at Betul, Hoshangabad, then Gorakhpur, at many places based on cattle dung only. So, and many more plants are in lineup furthermore. So, cattle dung based plants are coming in quite a sizable numbers. So, no need to worry how to address. And I assure you that these plants will further increase in numbers, as Mr. Parveer Agarwal in last session has answered. So that part I have answered. Another question was regarding finance. So I will cover that in today's session. Next slide, please. Yeah. Kindly see that 150 years back, what fuel we were using. So we were using basically wood and coal as a basic fuel. wood and solid were the basic fuel, so 150 years. So last century, we have shifted from coal and wood to liquid fuel, petrol, diesel. We have shifted fossil fuel. Okay, solid to liquid. Why this slide is important? Because solid to liquid to this century, we are shifting to gaseous fuel. So CNG, hydrogen, everything, natural gas, CBG will be the future fuel. It is going to increase. So this slide is very important because transition has to take place from solid to liquid to gas. It will come automatically, naturally. Nobody has to make any effort for that. So this will happen naturally. So in this context, CBG becomes very, very important. Very, very important. So currently we are using roughly 50 million metric ton of CNG in our country. We are consuming 50 million metric ton. And out of 50 million metric ton, 50% is being imported. Means 25 million metric ton is imported. So there is tremendous scope when our country is going to use gas as a future fuel like CNG. There is a scope for increase of this CNG from 50 million metric ton to 180 million metric ton in coming 10 years. That is the projection we are expecting. So there is tremendous scope for use of CBG in coming days. So CBG will become very relevant. What we have launched, SATAT, will be very relevant. It is going to be very, very important for the country and for coming years in the fuel sector. This is the spot prices of CNG. Just for reference, this slide is recently there has been sharp increase. So CBG price will also increase. Then why CBG will be important? Because this Panchamrit last Glasgow summit COP26, our Honorable Prime Minister has declared that we will be shifting from fossil fuel to renewable sources. We will enhance our capacity by 500 gigawatt by 2030. Then we will reduce total carbon emission. We will reduce carbon intensity economy and achieve net zero by 2070. So this Panchamrit Glasgow summit, this policy decision of the government will promote CBG, because without CBG this is impossible to achieve. Now CBG. There are, as Shukla Sahab has rightly said, the tone of the today's discussion, that basket of economy, basket of products. So you can see this CBG is not alone. Anaerobic digester, in digestion it is taking place, biogas is coming, then electricity is getting generated, fertilizer is coming out of it. It is used as a fuel. So many things, basket is coming, carbon dioxide is coming out of it, carbon credit is also has to be somewhere in the basket. So many things is encompassed in CBG sector. Briefly, this is the value chain. Briefly, just to remind and just to brief about this thing, that all the waste, crop waste, then the food waste, water sludge waste, cattle dung, all are put in digester. Biogas is generated, then this is upgraded through upgrading system. We remove carbon dioxide, methane separate, and it is carbon dioxide can be marketed when market is existing. Methane is put into gas grid, or it can be directly sold to vehicles, fuel to vehicles, and then pipeline injection is possible. Then fertilizer is coming out of the digester. All these things is value chain. Benefits are many benefits are there. I don't need to emphasize much, but this is the only program of the government which address Atmanirbhar Bharat. It address net zero emission. It is addressing doubling the farmer income. This is promoting Paramparagat Krishi Vikas Yojana. This is progressing Swachh Bharat mission. This is creating employment. This is the only, SATAT program is the only program which address 4-5 mission of government of India. So that is very, very important, very, very important. It cleans the environment, it promotes clean fuel, it reduces the import dependency of the fuel, fossil fuel. So how important is SATAT, I don't need to elaborate much. Progress made so far in the SATAT. You can see we have, after launching 1st of October 2018, we have till now commissioned 38 biogas plant in India, 38 biogas plant. We have started selling CBG from 61 retail outlet. And till now, we have sold roughly 11,000 tons of CBG. So a baby step, certainly a baby step, considering a huge target of 5,000 plants, baby step, but a firm step, and baby is still walking. So you can expect that when baby will become young and when it will stand on its own feet, it will start running, and that 5,000 plants dream will not be much beyond the baby's reach. So one baby step today, but giant leap tomorrow. That is the statement I am certainly entitled to give. Fermented organic manure, as I have told that it's one of the sector recognized by everybody, every panelist in the previous session, and Shukla Saab also has spoken about the importance of organic manure. It is one of the main ingredient of the success of the biogas plant. It is one of the most important thing now. Why? Because CBG oil and gas marketing company are doing agreements for 15 years, but for organic manure upliftment, there is no policy. Although so many supports are coming, has started pouring in, but firm policy is not there to offtake it. So it has become one of the more itching point in the success of the biogas plant. So I will just like to brief upon importance of organic manure. This is the map of India. You can see the organic content of the soil. You will see that yellow portion is more. Yellow portion, very low organic content, means less than 0.5%. Medium 0.5 to 0.75% concentration. High is greater than 0.75%. So blue portion is the higher content, soil content, organic soil content. You will see blue portion is very less in entire India. Only Assam and northeast part of the country, and then Ladakh and remote area are blue portion. Otherwise, most Kerala coastal portion is blue content, where soil organic content is remain intact. Otherwise, entire area is yellow. So that shows the importance of organic manure, how to enrich the soil. This is just to show which are the states, which is Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Punjab. These are the most exploited state where carbon content in the soil is very low. And West Bengal, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Uttarakhand, you will find they are roughly Chhattisgarh 50%, 60% is Telangana. These are the area where contents are less. 90% is Haryana, means soil has been exploited much in Haryana. Benefit from this organic manure are many. It decreases the agriculture sector challenge. Decrease crop yields, means soil which is giving yield for a certain portion of chemical fertilizer, use of chemical fertilizer, it is every 7 years to 10 years it is getting doubled. That is the study. It has been found that today if you are using 100 tons fertilizer, chemical fertilizers, within 7 to 10 years you need double the fertilizer to get same yield. So you can just imagine the dreadfulness of use of chemical fertilizer. And benefits of fermented and organic manures, that it restores the soil fertility, natural fertility of the soil, it restores, it decreases the use of chemical fertilizer. So many benefits are there. Just few of them are listed down. I will just come down to many of the policy enablers in CBG sectors because finance is most important. So I will dwell upon financing portion more. Pricing, in previous session, pricing was discussed. So just I will just brief down the pricing. You will find that 56.70 has been the minimum procurement price now from the declared 46 rupees when SATAT was launched. And it can go to 78 rupees when CBG is sold at price of 100 rupees. So a tremendous jump. I remember Sukla Saab advocating a procurement price of 75 rupees. I just remember your strongly advocating, so we have achieved that. So thank you very much for giving that idea. So what the main thing in this CBG procurement price is that we have linked it to CNG sale price. Previously, there was no linkage with CNG price, but the range of CNG price, CBG procurement price will increase, definitely increase. And it will increase in the same proportion, which has been listed down. So suppose CNG is sold 95 rupees 1 paisa to 100 rupees, so procurement price will be 78 rupees 1 paisa, including GST. So that linkage has been established. Other thing, this has been, CBG has been included in priority sector lending by RBI. This policy has come. So banks are necessarily compelled to give finance. Canara Bank has been nominated as nodal banker. So this has been done. Then Punjab National Bank, Bank of Baroda, State Bank of India, they have come up with definite pricing, definite financing system policy for CBG sector, especially for CBG sector. Then Union Bank of India has also made policy for financing CBG sector. Fermented organic manure gadget notification has been issued for liquid fermented organic manure and solid organic fermented organic manure. So previously nobody was able to sell in the open market, but inclusion in gadget notification, people, any biogas plant can sell their product in the market, provided they match this specification as per gadget notification. Then pollution clearance was a tough task previously. We have got the circular issued under which this biogas sector has been included in a white category where conditions are very, very less stringent, very normal. So white category means very, very nominal conditions. Then formation of a state level committee, many states, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, they have formulated a nodal state committee who can discuss at the highest level, joint secretary level members are there from the state committee, oil and gas company marketing officers, they are also a member part of the committee. So they have been formed to promote installation of biogas plants. Then CGD network synchronization, injection of gas in gas grid, that policy has also come and was discussed in the last session. Explosive license we have taken up with the explosive, and retail outlet who are selling CNG, they don't need to have separate license for CBG. So that policy is also there from explosive. So many things we have got, wherever problem area was, we try to address, and that policy has come. Then one of the very important thing I will like to discuss, just day before yesterday, Uttar Pradesh government has declared energy policy, particularly for biofuel, which also includes CBG. These are some salient feature of the government policy of Uttar Pradesh, under which this policy will remain valid for 5 years, in coming 5 years. 1 rupees per acre land will be made available to the entrepreneurs who are setting up plant in Uttar Pradesh. 1 rupees per acre per annum. So just a nominal rental price and that land will be available for 30 years. So very, very important policy decision this has come, very welcoming step by Uttar Pradesh government. Then capital subsidy of 75 lakh per ton means suppose one CBG plants who is producing 20 tons per day, they will get a straightway capital subsidy of 15 crore capital subsidy, 15 crore. So anybody setting up 30 tons per day capacity plant, they will give 20 crores because 20 crore is the highest limit. Capping is there, 20 crore. So very important announcement by Uttar Pradesh. Another thing that they will help in marketing of the manure that they have included in the policy. 30% subsidy on baling, raking of biomass. That also capital subsidy has come up by the Uttar Pradesh government. Other thing, they have waived off stamp duty. They have waived off stamp duty on registration of land, everything. They have also, so many things are there. They have said that electricity duty, they have waived off. All these things are there. Detailed policy has come up just 2-3 days back, and we expect that similar policy will be declared by other state government also. We are taking up with the Chief Secretary of respective state government, and we hope that similar policy will come on Uttar Pradesh biofuel policy line. So these are the one of the most welcome step. Entrepreneur will really get great relief. So at least I will request all of you who are interested to set up in Uttar Pradesh particularly to come in contact with us. We will guide you how to apply, how to get in touch, and how to get benefit out of the policy. Need for low cost financing. So today's session is for financing. So why there is no need for low cost financing? See, just Mr. Shukla has said that basket. So this is the basket: carbon credits, sale of sulfur, sale of carbon dioxide, sale of liquid fermented organic manure, sale of solid manure, pipeline injection of CGD in gas grid, sale of CBG as industrial use, sale of CBG as transport fuel. So many things has to be combined together to make the CBG sector work. Or if you depend only on one sector or one thing, it is not going to happen. It is not going to happen. That is, let everybody be very, very clear. So every sector has to rope into to get benefit. Then only CBG, this plant can be economically viable. Just for discussion purpose and for reference, I have tried to calculate few of the calculation. Viability of the financial viability of the CBG plant based on certain assumptions. So let us assume that anybody setting up a 50-ton processing capacity biogas plant which produces 5 tons of CBG and produces manure 20 ton per day, PEDA straw cost is 2,000 per ton. This is just for assumption. And CBG selling price, let us assume this is 50,000 per ton with GST, without GST, including transportation and all. This is the realization. And from fermented organic manure, this is realization is 2,000 per ton. This is the base case assumption. And estimated plant and machinery cost is 30 crores. Plant is operating on 330 days. So let us see with this assumption how economy is coming out. These are various scenario interest rate. You will find that 3%, 5% sensitivity. This scenario 8.5%, 10%, 11%. These are the different interest rate. Base case like paddy straw 2,000 per ton, fermented organic manure price 2,000 per ton realization. Then with 3% interest rate, this return on equity is 3% only. With 5% interest rate, it is 2% only. And the normal financing is start from 8.5%. It is less than 1%. It is less than 1%. Okay. Let us assume case 2. Paddy straw 1500 per ton. Fermented organic price 2000 per ton. Then realization is 7% with 3% interest rate. And with higher interest, it is further going down. Case 2. If the organic manure price we are realizing 5,000 per ton, which we are demanding from every sector, government sector, that from the fermented organic manure, there should be some system that 5,000 per ton should be the realization price to CBG sector. Then only with 3% interest rate, it is coming 17%, healthy return on equity. With 5%, it is coming 14%. With 8.5%, it is still viable with 11%. With 10%, 10%, and 11%, it is going down to 9%. But this case 2 has to be promoted, has to be stabilized, because if it is not that realization of fermented organic manure is less than 5,000 per ton, then this realization will not be there. So this is very important to bring to everybody's notice that this finance is how important finance is in the making the success of the CBG plant. In setting up 5,000 plants, how this is important. Next case. Press mud. Everybody is talking about press mud, so let us see how calculation is going on press mud. Press mud, normally plants yield is less, so we have assumed 200 tons press mud per day processing capacity. 8 tons will be the realization through CBG, and 40 tons will be the manure production. Press mud cost we have assumed base case 700 per ton, 700 per ton delivered to plant, this we have assumed. And then CBG selling price same 58,000 per ton. That other case manure selling price we have kept same. Estimated plant and machinery cost we have assumed 60 crores. It may happen that in 50 crores also you can set up the plants, but we have assumed 60 crores, and running day is 330 days calculation for sake of calculation. So see how economy is coming. Base case 8% is the return for 3%. Then with 5% interest rate it is 6%. Then 8.5% it is 3%. 10% 3%. Then at interest rate of 11% it is 2%. So it is not working. It is not working. It will start working when we increase the fermented organic manure price to 2,000 per ton. We are decreasing the press mud procurement price to 500 per ton, which we are saying that let it be fixed to 500, less than 500, 250 is the ideal per ton. If it is declared 250 delivered at plant, then it will work fantastically. Then at 500 per ton and fermented organic price 2,000 per ton, it is working 11% at 3% interest rate. At 8.5% it is again decreasing to 6%. So 8.5% is the normal interest rate at banking sector nowadays. This is the barest minimum interest rate, 8.5%. Whosoever is highest this rating, they will give 8.5%. So below that, financing is not happening in India right now for CBG plants. So that this is not working. It will work only when we keep the press mud at procurement price at 500 per ton and organic manure selling at 4,000 per ton. Then at 8.5% it is coming at 12% return on equity. So here also sale of organic manure at 4,000 becomes very critical, and supply of press mud at 500 per ton becomes critical. So this calculation has been done to apprise you that economics, CBG plant economics, organic manure sale is very, very, very critical, very, very critical. And interest rate is also very, very critical in financing the CBG sector. Let us assume third case. This is based on MSW. These are the basic three ingredients, MSW, press mud. So these are the basic assumptions. Let us see how economics, because time is running short, so I will just run through and come to the main thing. See, at 8.5%, case 1, when waste tipping fee is not given, return is only 3%. So without tipping fee, this will not work. Without tipping, this has to be understood. We have assumed 500 per ton tipping fee has to be given. So when tipping fee is 500 per ton is given and fermented organic manure sale is happening at 4,000 per ton, then return is 12% at 8.5% interest rate. So that is very important. I hope that you must have gathered till now inside of the finance how it is working. Financing, as Mr. Jha was telling that in the last previous section question was asked, much is not happening. You are right, much is not happening. Much is not happening. It's a fact. Interest rate are not coming down. It is only discussion. So many discussion, one discussions. We have done discussion, more than 500 discussion, from one meeting to another meeting, another meeting to another meeting. More than 500 discussion at ministry level with banks, with World Banks. You name any bank which is operating or functioning in India or having any stake in India, we have discussed with everybody. Nothing is happening. Nothing significant is happening. We are requesting everybody for financing at 3% to 5%. We are asking that do anything, but more than 5% is not workable. Please do some financing so that interest rate is pegged to maximum 5%. 3% is ideal. That is our demand, without which this CBG sector will not progress, will not find any takers. Whatever policy you make, it will remain policy, gas grid injection, this injection, that injection it's not going to happen. This is a reality that I've realized. Other thing, fermented organic manure sale, some system has to be there. It cannot be without that you give responsibility to FCI, you give responsibility to IFCO, you give responsibility to that organization, that public sector organization. It is not going to happen. Some policy has to come that organic manure, fermented organic manure has to be uplifted at 5,000 per ton. Then only something concrete is going to move. Otherwise, it is not going to. And this carbon credit, all these things, where it is happening in India? Anybody selling carbon? I have not found any organization which is selling carbon and earning. It is not happening in India. It is only talk. So unless and until money realization is there, talk will remain talk. So these are the organization we are discussing. We will keep on discussing. I am not disappointed. I am not very pessimistic. I am optimistic. I feel that the seed which we have sown on 1st of October 2018, the plant has just come out of the ground, but it will become tree, big tree in coming days. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Vijay Kumar ji. You have set right the tone for all others to think what should be done by everybody involved in the game. In fact, the financing of at the lower rate that has been the key. And the other thing is that the outputs which the biogas plants are having, we are having the energy and fertilizer, but the major output which is in the beginning itself, that it is also treating the waste. So cost of pollution, that is to be internalized in this one, and that is to be financed by the policy makers. Which way they want to do, how that, because they can always do that, whatever pollution treatment cost is involved by the nation, that can, to that extent, the support can be provided to financial institutions and bank to have the lower rates of interest, and so that it happens. The organic fertilizers, certainly, we are going to have the, just like oil marketing companies are going to have the gas, similarly the fertilizer by the fertilizer companies, that is a requirement. Thanks once again, Vijay Kumarji. One thing more in the basket of outputs which I would like to put for your consideration and thinking is the animal energy. I would like to tell you the story of MNRE. When we started in MNRE, we were having, other than the biogas program, solar energy program, we were also having the human and animal energy program. HAEP, Human and Animal Energy Program. Now the animals are there in the Gaushalas, the male animals, they don't have any work. As I said, that each and every component of the biomass is to be used and outputs are to be used. Similarly, the outputs of the animals, not only the waste, but their energy is also to be used. And if we are able to develop systems and technologies, all those who are there in the IBA group, I have given one small thought point there, that let us think of developing systems and technologies which can use the animal energy in an efficient manner. Rahat, etc., the pumping of water, it was there. But with the oil coming in the picture, everybody and electricity coming in the picture, they have forgotten. So in fact, the investments in the technology by the government has not gone, and by the industries have not gone. Therefore, the good systems have not been developed. And it is possible to develop. Some of the systems have been developed in India, and they are available, they are operating. Including in Noida, there is one setup for having the flour grinding out of the animal. So therefore, once you use the animal energy, then certainly the load on the petroleum fuels, gas or the liquid fuel, is going to reduce. And as a matter of fact, since we will never be able to produce all the petroleum fuels in the country, we have to continue to import. Therefore, our approach should be to how much we can minimize and reduce. Everything can be done by electricity and by oil, petrol or diesel, but point remains that the price which we have to pay for it, that is not available. Therefore, the mixing, as it was said, all the energies, all the systems are to be required. So keep on thinking how the animal energy can be put into it. Similarly, the human energy. I went to a hospital and I have seen there that there is a cycling machine, and they have, they say that the fan which is blowing on the face of the person who is cycling on that is being run on the energy produced from the converted electricity from the pedals. So therefore, similar smart systems technologies can be done where we can reduce the burden on the petroleum and petroleum fuels and the electricity through these non-conventional approach and methods. So we have to internalize these things. So with this, thank you very much once again, Vijayji. Now we go to Dr. Sachin Kumar, who is at NIBE, and everybody is looking at the time at the back. Since IOCL presentation was on SATAT really complete in itself, I thought to have all the presentation points brought by him, Dr. Vijayji. Now Sachinji and all other speakers, I request them to keep on looking at the time also at the back so that our lunch is not very much delayed. So Dr. Sachin Kumar, who is at NIBE, the institution under Ministry of Indian Renewable Energy. Dr. Sachin Kumar.
Hello, good afternoon everyone, and thank you sir, thank you being with us Uh, so basically, I'm a scientist, and my job is to, whatever existing processes are there, to make them advanced, whether to increase the yield, productivity, how we can reduce the cost, and that we consider when we do research. So at NIBE is the institution under the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, and under the aegis of Sir. Sir only at that time when we joined NIBE, Sir was the advisor in MNRE. So we learned a lot from Sir, and still we are learning. So I'm thankful to Sir. So then we set up a laboratory in the institute, and then we are extensively working on biogas production. So considering we are thinking about the energy security and environment as well. So the crop residues, especially paddy straw in the states like Punjab, Haryana, which is burned basically. So if we could utilize that, so a lot of BJs are also included that paddy straw as a feedstock for biogas production. So there are multiple advantages if we go for such crop residues. Like we will be energy secure, and whatever digestate, that can be used as a fermented manure, organic manure, which again will enrich our soil, because we are lacking, or carbon in the soil is reducing. So that well explained by Sir. Region wise how the impact of carbon is going on. So that can also be cover up by using that foam in the crops. And yeah, so I come to the process side again. So as NIBE institution, we also develop some processes where we can increase the yield or productivity. So we have reduced the HRT very drastically, like 1/4 of the conventional one if we consider like that. So we are digesting paddy straw in like 10 to 12 days only. And as Sir mentioned, we need 50 tons of paddy straw to produce 5 tons of CBG. The same thing we are doing by using 25 tons of this paddy straw. So just we have doubled the yield of process. And of course, when we reduce the HRT, then your plant cost or digester cost will also reduce, because we can reduce the volume required for the digestion. So that we have done. Not only these paddy straw, we have also worked with the grasses where Napier grasses have been used. Kitchen waste or this MSW we have worked. So in most of the feedstocks, we have got the enhanced biogas yield and yeah, with low HRT. So that we have done extensive work. Other than this, we have also framed some biogas plant standards, where Shukla sir is the chairman of that committee. So now that under BIS it is extensively reviewed and how it will be beneficial to the stakeholders which are in the biogas market. Before that, standards were drafted under the chairmanship of our DG NIBE. So then we submitted to BIS. Now BIS is looking after those biogas standards. So I believe that will come soon on the floor, and it will benefit to the all the stakeholders. So in that standard, we have included all applications, processes, whatever possible that can give the advantage to the stakeholders. And form also there, that fermented organic manure. So all these terms are properly defined in that standards. So policy-wise, if MNRE, you guys know the policy of MNRE. So the financial assistance that already, I mean in 2021, it got expired. But it is under renewable, I mean, with the finance ministry, it is pending. So soon it will come up and all the stakeholders will get benefited out of it. Recently, I also visited some places where small size biogas plants, like bag type biogas plants have been installed. So a lot of stakeholders or these developers are coming up for such plants. So I have found some advantages over conventional biogas plants that like up to like community based biogas plants, say 25-meter cube. So those are also beneficial and people should think about it to develop some more such kind of biogas plants. So that is also under consideration of MNRE, and MNRE will support in a kind of subsidy to the beneficiaries, which are basically farmers and yeah. So those having the cows or animals and thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Sachin Kumar. He has flagged the standards and then the work done for reducing the time required for processing the biomass in the digester. These are the work which they are doing there and continuously providing support to MNRE for bringing about the right kind of policies for this sector. Thanks, Dr. Sachin Kumar. Now I request Nikhil Koot Sahab, who is at UNIDOVO, and he has been involved in very, very important activities there, and today he is going to let us know about what innovations he had done at the UNIDO and what innovations can be done even now to support this sector. Nikhil ji.
Hello. Thank you, sir. UNIDO is implementing JEF-funded project in partnership with the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Under this project, we launched financial support scheme to demonstrate innovations. Applications were invited and 4 projects were selected through the competitive evaluation process. Under this scheme, these projects will get financial support in terms of, in the form of interest subvention. I'll share my experience, while doing the assessment and selection of these innovation demonstration projects. First of all, I think that the biogas industry in India is still evolving, and it should continue to evolve. Innovations actually catalyze this process, so they are absolutely important that innovations should keep on happening. While we say that, the problem is that these projects are either capital intensive, or they get financing at higher cost from the banks. The banks have, banks foresee higher risk in supporting these projects. So either they increase the cost of lending money, or they ask for more collateral. In such case, these projects become economically unviable, and these are the challenges which project developers face while setting up the innovative plants. So as Mr. Vijay Kumar rightly said, even despite of this SATAT scheme, there is a need for giving interest subvention to make innovation or innovative projects economically viable. There is huge potential. Innovations will not and cannot just related to the technology. Innovations can happen in feedstock supply chain. Innovations can happen in offtake of fermented organic manure. Innovations can happen in the overall business models of biogas energy. So there has to be a separate policy to promote innovative biogas projects.
Good, thanks, Nikhil ji. With this, we move on to Abhijit Mukherjee, who is project head at Indian Biogas Association. He has been interacting with all the members over a period of time through publications and all which IBA is bringing. I request Abhijit to tell us about policies which are there and which should be there for supporting this sector briefly.
Hello. Yeah, hi. So am I audible? Okay, thank you. So I think Vijay ji has wonderfully presented about the existing policies, and in fact he has covered the entire aspects that is there in the value chain of the CBG industry. So with his presentation, I think I don't have much inputs here to provide, but exactly on a lighter note, I would like to pinpoint some of the exact solutions that can pave the way forward for this particular industry. We all, of course, know the problem statement, right? It's quite apparent to us. And we also understand the gravity of the situation. Means it is becoming more and more inevitable for us to kind of implement the non-fossils into the overall energy mix. So that goes without saying, right? And it is in this context that the bioenergy or CBG within it, it provides the lowest hanging fruit for us to address all of these concerns, particularly with respect to the climate change mitigation through the greenhouse gas curtailment. And also, it helps us adopt this Atmanirbhar Bharat, or building the Atmanirbhar Bharat, the flagship mission of our Honorable Prime Minister. So that is the gravity of the situation, and there is no other way to kind of adopt this bioenergy or the biofuels, and CBG being one of the paramount fuel, which has got tremendous potential. We have been hearing it so on and so forth. But the thing is that there are few things which might kind of change the situation or might be the key to kind of unlock this immense potential. I think SATAT has been a wonderful initiative that has kind of paved the platform. We are into the third year. I think Miyaji was mentioning about the fourth year, exact fourth year on this particular date that the SATAT scheme has been launched. And there has been quite a few evolution in the SATAT scheme as well. So it began with a kind of a short-term contract to be entered upon, and then kind of the contract has been now extended to 15 years. So that gives a proper leeway for the project developers. So they have guaranteed offtake in a way for 15 years. So that's a relaxation for the project developers coming in. Now we have seen the benchmarking of the prices. Now it has been benchmarked to CNG, right? We can talk about various things, that whether the pricing at this point in time is at 54 rupees is fair or not. I think Vijayji was also mentioning about Suklaji in one of his latest to the ministry requesting a price of around 75 rupees. But there are certain limitations and certain boundary conditions within which the ministries also work, right? There is a substitute fuel to look after for like the CNG, right? So you just can't increase the prices more than the CNG. So there are certain boundary conditions within which the ministry as well as the oil marketing companies and the gas utility companies work. So they have got a boundary to work upon. But having said that, the entire pricing scheme or the SATAT scheme or the evolution that has happened over the last 4 years, that is completely mind-blowing. And in fact, we can look forward to many such kind of small innovations coming in. I think many of the banks, which IOCL already kind of addressed, many of the banks are coming forth with lucrative loan schemes, right, particularly for the CBG sector. But having said that, although those schemes are in place, if you see in reality, means we keep interacting with several project developers who are setting up projects. We know the number of LOIs, and exactly after 4 years, we are seeing a setup of the industry wherein the potential hasn't been exploited to the fullest, right? So there is a lot more to be exploited, and the financing industry, particularly the banks, have got a role to play. They are coming out with several instruments, like for example, trade guarantee scheme was something being talked about. that since the banking industry is kind of skeptical to kind of having the credit exposure to this particular market, because this particular market right now is in a conundrum, I would say, because the conundrum is like a chicken egg kind of scenario. So chicken egg scenario in the way that what happens first? The industry grows, it attains a certain state, and then the financing comes through the financial institutions or the investors, or it's the other way around. Few more plants are set up, a track record is there, and then maybe the investment comes in. So what comes in first, the investment or the industry grows? So of course it's a cycle, but these loan schemes that have come up from the banking institutions, those are wonderful. There are certain fine-tuning that needs to be done with respect to the collateral requirement that could be offset through this trade guarantee scheme. I think one of that is already in place in terms of the MSME trade guarantee scheme, which is being run by SIDBI. And few of the multilateral banks are also coming up to kind of give stimulus to that particular scheme. Right now, that scheme is for a limited corpus. I think it is for 2 crores only. But we talk about biogas projects, we're talking about 30 crores or 40 crores of investment for single project, right? So the credit guarantee scheme right now is not sufficient, but then multilateral banks, as I talked, the World Bank, the KfW, Asian Development Bank, they're coming up. And Vijayji rightfully pointed out with respect to the interest rates, which are means not very lucrative. He talked about 8% being the least, 8.5% being the least that is being offered to the credible players. But talking about some entrepreneur who doesn't have much of track record, they go to the bank, although the schemes are there in place, but a hefty lot of collateral is being still asked apart from the primary assets, that is the project assets that is being created. So that becomes an onus for the developers, at least for the entrepreneurs. So lucrative interest rate is something that is obviously that will bring more investment, and the multilateral banks with the source of funds being very less from the multilateral banks, that can play a role in kind of having a concessional rate. And talking about the other revenue streams, be it in form of organic manure, I think a lot has already been done, which has been in the ambit of oil marketing companies, IOCL, GAIL. They are kind of putting in tremendous efforts to kind of rope in the Department of Fertilizer to look into the promotional and marketing of the organic manure that is getting produced. But still, it's an unfragmented market at this point in time. There are not many of structured players, but definitely this fertilizer marketing companies getting into the game, they kind of tagging the synthetic fertilizers to the organic manure. For certain number of bags of synthetic fertilizer being sold, a certain number of organic manure has to be as well sold. So those kinds of promotional campaign, as well as the marketing development assistance, which is much in talk right now, and hopefully we can hear that the marketing development assistance for selling of per kg of manure can also be coming in soon. So those kind of push will also help the market. Talking about the carbon trade industry, that is another revenue stream, and means as per our estimate at this prevailing rate, talking particularly about the voluntary market, the prevailing rate is around $3 to $10 per unit of carbon credits. So I would like to emphasize a bit on carbon credits, because Vijayji kind of negated that the carbon credits is all talks, right? Not much happening. Indeed, means if you see the history of carbon credit, it started from the Kyoto Protocol under the Clean Development Mechanism. And when that kind of took off, the rates were quite high. It was all as high as 30 euros, 40 euros. That was the kind of rate we were seeing for the carbon credits. But then the global financial crisis crept in. I think in 2008 to 2010, global crisis crept in. And the kind of prices were kind of significantly down to almost 2 euros or something like that. Almost 1/10 fall in the prices. So, and then, of course, we have this transgression into the Paris protocol. From the Kyoto Protocol, we are now transgressing into the Paris protocol. And in the Paris protocol, at this point in time, lot more companies, lot more compliance market is kind of coming up. I think Corsia is one which is looking into the international aviation. So they are industry setup, industry body who is looking to kind of create some kind of compliance market for carbon credits. Few of the other countries are kind of leading the way, be it Colombia, South Africa, the entire Europe. So they are creating the compliance market. But talking from Indian perspective, right now it is completely the voluntary market from which a revenue from carbon credits can be kind of thought of. And there are few carbon credit management companies who kind of takes care of the entire cycle, right? So still, we can attach a certain fraction of the revenues that attributes from setting up CBG projects to carbon credits. That might not be very significant at this point in time. It might be at the best 5% to the revenues or even lesser. But then with this compliance market creeping in, right now it is completely voluntary so far as Indian market is concerned. But then with the compliance market creeping in, with the new Energy Conservation Amendment Act, which has come up just 2-3 months back, it at least gives some framework for the ministries to kind of create this kind of national framework, creating the national registry. So the compliance market, it will take some time to come, but once this compliance market comes in, I think the prices of carbon credits will go high, and it can attribute a significant revenues to the CBG projects as well. So these are some of the inputs that I thought that could be helpful in paving the way forward for the CBG industry. Lot has already been done. Lot is already in progress. We have set the fundamentals right, and now is to bear the fruit in the next 2 to 3 years. And with this envisaged SATAT scheme target that we had to achieve 5,000 plants by 2022, but we are hopeful that 24, 25, in the next 2-3 years, we are going to see significant number of plants coming up. And particularly with the CGD companies. The CGD companies are also quite apprised that this is the way forward. Relying only on the domestic gas or the spot LNG is not the solution. They have to enter it through the renewable route. They have to set up CBG projects. And the CGD companies are coming forward. In fact, all the CGD companies across any geographical area, they are kind of thinking on setting up projects. And that is a good kind of indication for the industry. So once the kickstarting happens, I think a lot more things will happen from the entrepreneurial side as well. Private investors will also come in, and we will see a tremendous growth. So those are the kind of inputs that I wanted to share.
Thanks, Abhijit. With this, we have finished with the interventions which from the panelists were to give today. Ultimately, we have to see that how the prices can be reduced. That is in our hands, and what government policy should do, that recommendations have come up in this panel discussion from IBA. We will consolidate that and put up across the concerned departments of the government. As far as reducing the price of the projects are concerned, one suggestion which I wrote to Niti Aayog, that the existing renewable energy installations, be it solar farm or the wind farm or any other, even the sugar mills, the agro-food processing industries, where the lands are already there, the setup is already there. We have to have a proper directive, mandatory kind of directive from the governmental side, be it MNRE or any other concerned ministry, that they have to go for installation of, suppose the sugar industry, they are going to become a nucleus center, where all the biomass getting produced in the command area from where the sugar canes are being purchased, all the biomass waste, all types, including the seeds, will be collected and processed at that center. And for that, the joint ventures, if sugar mills are not going, the entrepreneurs who are there in the CBG sector, they can attempt to have joint ventures company formed and set up in the same premises with proper safeguards, so that the sugar mill owners are not able to exploit the CBG companies who are going to go there. So there are several things which you keep on thinking how to reduce the cost, because although UP has said 1 rupee per acre, etc., by trimmer, so there is no land in UP. All of us know who are in UP, we know that the land is scarce, lot of population to be supported. The agriculture is to be there, some industries also to be there. So, and wastelands are not there to that extent. So therefore, it is always pressure on the land will be there. Then attempt should be made how to reduce the requirement of the land for any of the newer ventures, including CBG. Similarly, for solar, they are going newer way, they are going on the canal, they are going on the, why? Because the land is not available. So therefore, land is a precious resource we have to reduce, and to that extent, the cost of projects of CBG will also be reduced. So with these concluding remarks, of course, time is already up, but if there is any pressing question which you feel our panelists should answer, you can raise hands, a couple of questions we can have, though we are late. Any question? Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Hello. Hello. If I set up bio-CNG plant and if your policy gets changes, so will I get the benefit of that change policy?
He's saying that if he is going to set up the bio-CNG plant and the policy gets changed, whether he will be covered in the change policy or not.
SATAT policy will only be upgraded. Upgraded means if you are going to set up biogas plant and whatever existing policy is there right now, it will only upgraded to support you. No policy downgradation will be there that will create problem for you. Like I'm saying that previously when the policy was launched, just I am explaining with example, that time the policy was for 10 years, commercial agreement was for 10 years. We have upgraded it to 15 years. Okay, with the change policy. We have upgraded 15 years. When the policy was launched, there was no price guarantee. Price guarantee was not there. We have come out with the policy that 10 years price guarantee, that in whatever comes, whatever the gas prices is there in the market, the procurement price of CBG will never go down below 46 rupees per kg. This will never go down below 46 rupees. Suppose CNG tomorrow CNG starts selling at 20 rupees in the market, open market. But even then, we will procure at 46 rupees per kg from the CBG plant. That is the guarantee we have given. So, in nutshell, the SATAT policy will only be upgraded. It will never be downgraded. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. I have a question to Mr. Sachin. You said that you have done some studies based on biogas production from Napier grass. So what is the typical yield of Napier grass that you have got, and what is its composition of the gas?
Thank you for this question. Yeah. So if we consider like 75% solid in fresh grass, so you will get around 150 meter cube biogas per ton of that fresh grass with the composition of 60 to 65% of methane.
Sir, my question is to Mr. Vijay Kumar. Sir, what is the cost of transportation of CBG you are considering from the manufacturing plant to the plant evacuation level? The cost of transportation of CBG from the generating plant to the retail outlet, how much you are considering in your models?
Yeah. In fact, when we launched the SATAT program, that time what Dr. Sukla has explained at the beginning of the session, that whatever is locally produced will be locally consumed. This was the basic principle. Means the gas was to be produced from the local raw material and gas was to be consumed locally, and fertilizer also was to be consumed locally. Means there should not be much of the transportation. Okay, either in bringing the raw material or in disposal of CBG or in disposal of manure. So we decided a radius of 25 kilometers. So initial 1st of October when the policy was started, 25 kilometer radius was there. So material was to be brought to plant within 25 kilometer, and CBG and manure was to be disposed of within 25 kilometers. But what happened later on, that material was readily available within 25 kilometers or 30 kilometers, but disposal of CBG was not taking within 25 kilometers. Okay. Why? Because where the raw material availability is there, their demand of CBG was not there, conversion was not there. So because rural area, raw material is available in rural area, And in rural area, conversion of CNG vehicle was not there much, vehicles were not there. So initially we started facing the problem. Then we came out with the solution that CBG can be transported beyond 25 kilometer also. And we started giving transportation, additional transportation fee. Okay. We came out with a policy that if the material is brought to beyond 25 kilometer, we will give additional transportation fee to the plant owner.
Okay. Sir, right now whatever notification is there, in that you are mentioning 75 kilometers one-way distance.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
yeah.
My question is very specific. While I know the notification and all that, whatever financial modeling you have done, in that, how much is the evacuation cost you are considering?
Yeah. So basically when we decided the pricing and when we fixed up the pricing, 40 rupees was the CBG price, 6 rupees was the transportation cost, okay, for 25 kilometer. Later on we found that up to 125 kilometer, this 6 rupees was coming to roughly 12 rupees 50 paisa, okay, per kg. So 40 rupees plus 12 rupees 50 paisa was coming to 52 rupees 50 paisa. So we have increased, when we have increased the base price to 56 rupees, okay. So that time we decided that because additional transportation cost has to be incurred, when we increase the price, we have increased the limit also. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Fine.
So
Thank you.
thank you very much, Vijay Kumarji, and all the participants for attending this session. Now I have got a signal that we have already overshooted the time. So allow me to get it closed. The organizers, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Chairperson, Moderator of the session, Dr. A.R. Shukla, for wonderfully conducting and concluding the session. Just to make this moment a little more memorable, we have a token of love and appreciation to our panelists. May I request the Moderator of the session to kindly present a memento to each one of our panelists. We would like to present a memento to Mr. Sachin Kumar. A memento to Mr. Nikhil Kote. A memento to Mr. Nikhil Kote. We also thank Mr. Vijay Kumar. And a token of appreciation for Mr. Abhijit Mukherjee. May I now invite onto the stage the Chairman IBA, Mr. Gaurav Kedia, to kindly join us onto the stage and present a memento to the moderator of the session, Dr. A.R. Shukla. Ladies and gentlemen, can we put our hands together as we are concluding the session? Thank you so much. May I request the panelists to kindly come forward for a group photograph. We are taking exactly 5 minutes to set up our stage. In the meantime, we break for lunch. Ladies and gentlemen, at dot 2:30, we'll start with our next technical session. And we request you to kindly be seated 5 minutes before that for our no delay of the sessions. Our next session, which will be at 2:30, I'm reiterating so, and it is going to be on bioenergy and essential for India's rising energy sector. Ladies and gentlemen, we break for lunch now, and we would be meeting back sharp at 2:25 for us to start our session at 2:30. Thank you. See you soon.